Hello and welcome back, friends, as we are here to continue on. We've already had a spectacular first best of three, which did go quite in favor, I would say. There was still some definite competition coming out from UMass, but again, McGill University managing to take that win, as now we're going to change trajectories and focus on the Midwest, which, as we mentioned before the break, is University of Wisconsin versus Indiana University East. And honestly, we had some chance to, talk a little bit with the coaches as well before going into this, and we found out, a lot of information, both some fresh players entering into the roster, some consistent players that have been here for some while, and just really interested to see what they're going to really do differently from the first couple of games that we saw, or maybe the similarities as well.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested to see if we get a similar sort of situation with UMass, but instead of getting, one chaotic team and one very formal team, we may get two very formal teams who are working on their fundamental basics, are working on building a really strong foundation. Because even though UMass did lose those last games, it's more sustainable to build a team the way that UMass is building. And I feel that way about the University of Wisconsin. They're very proud of the roster that they're building. They're very proud of their individual play, but more than anything, they are trying to do it, the right way. They're trying to go with that meta. So I think it's really interesting how these teams, their different approaches to sustainability and learning and education.
As we do take a look a little bit into more of what these roles are going to be, we've got our players here on the screen, so we can take a look at, again, UW Stout versus Indiana. And we've highlighted a little bit, too, of some of these players from the interview process where, we had talked ahead of time to Spades coming out from University of Wisconsin, where, their entire roster has been since entered into last year, except for Dewey and Kitsunit. So they are really the two new bloods going into this new year to fill out those last two roles, whereas the three basically OGs have been the others. So, I mean, it's really curious to see how they're going to synergize well with the rest of their players to really compete against this team of Indiana.
Just kidding. There's a Mordekaiser there, so it is a Trundle jungle. Listen,
it's a Trundle jungle.
I sound so judgmental now because I realize that we've done this. So let me just roll it back here. At this level of play, matchups not incredibly meaningful. It's about individual play and how well these teams communicate with each other. Because it's collegiate, these are skills that these students want to take into the future. So these skills of communication, cooperation, there's so much from League of Legends that they can take away from that. So regardless of how I feel about these picks, the fact that the students are supporting each other in picking these and they have good synergy together, it does not matter. Anything I have to say as far as that goes, except indisputably Tarek into Trundle, not great. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
I mean, I definitely agree. And then also, every time I see the Malphite, I just think Indiana University East has a rock.
But I personally think that there's a lot to be said on the side of Indiana University when you have the same teammates. And that is either good or very bad, because if your teammates are the same and they don't like each other, it's the same old wounds opening, the same arguments that you can't fix. But I have a sneaking suspicion, since Indiana University is very proud of these returning members, that those three may be something to worry about for UW Stout.
Yeah, and with Nixter, like we mentioned, taking that place of read and write, that was probably, I think, almost the small similarity of what we've seen prior, where there is that new addition to the roster. How is it that they've acclimated into this team? What is it that they're really looking to bring so that they can compete at a very high level? And honestly, from what Lemon had mentioned, that Nixter has really held up their own, very quick learner as well, and look to actually play quite a bit around him, as we do look to see there's a huge focus in this bot position, aggressive play, especially when you've got a Thresh looking for the death sentence.
The Yakety stacks, let it begin. We have
going for hook. They're gonna land it now. Oh my goodness, there is going to be a plethora of damage coming out. Flashes all around. First blood on the Mord. If this wasn't the way I wanted the Midwest to start, I don't know what is.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I hate a Mordekaiser. I hate that he can kill people and stack their souls on top of him and then just wipe an entire team. So that's a handicap. Oh wait, no, Mordekaiser got the kill. Oh no.
Yep, yeah.
That's a handicap
Obliterate,
I'm not okay
indeed.
with. Oh my gosh, yeah, obliterate. Holy. Listen, I'm from the old days of League of Legends where Mordekaisers, Brazilian Mordekaisers, like had this whole meme where they would like spam his laugh, and it was so irritating. And so I think I just have like, even though he's been reworked, I have a little bit of trauma about Mordekaiser because he's still very strong. Again, you kill a player and they have a long timer towards the end. A Mordekaiser can carry a team that's so far, like 15k behind at 30 minutes if they are stacking these kills. So, you know, all I want to say is that if UWS starts to lose this game, all they need to do is pivot all of their resources into their Mordekaiser, and they'll see some fun results. But wouldn't it be nice to see an Aphelios be successful for the first time in a long time? I really miss, like, I feel like Aphelios is the intellectual man's man ADC, where like he's difficult to play because it requires sort of a memory game that you're playing to remember where you're at in your rotation, so you don't needlessly waste mana or damage. And so it's really interesting to me to like see the levels of success with Aphelios because he is what you make of it. Speaking of being what you are and you make of it, Lee Sin is the exact same. The ceiling is limitless. It's so high, but it depends on your level of success, your understanding of your map, your understanding of the way that the game flows. Lee Sin has unlimited potential, and he'll kick you in the face. And that's one of my favorite things, is that we have two of these unlimited potential champions on both sides. And the Lee Sin isn't necessarily a win con, but the Aphelios is. But the Lee Sin has the potential to become a win con, but it's more subtle in my opinion. So a credit to junglers that pick and master Lee Sin, because it's not as flashy as one would think. There's one kick you can get in there, everybody knows the ward trick now. It's not necessarily as cool as it used to be, but
wait a second, what is this ward trick you talk? I'm kidding.
I was like, oh my god,
goodness, I know. Oh no, I would literally, I think I would just have to leave this round. Now, as you do see that strike coming in up top, attempting to try and get the advantage back, as you have the Boulder looking to get some follow-up here. The kill goes in favor of Lemon. Again, interviewing him, talking about their jungle play, really looking to try and see if they can influence by rotating up towards that top lane and holding true to what they say.
To have a Lee Sin be that aggressive and like rotate top like that is actually very impressive to me. I think that it's really important to recognize a Lee Sin that understands the map and makes it his kingdom. It's not a lane kingdom, it's a map kingdom. And Lemon just showing a remarkable amount of knowledge here, knowing when the bot lane came in from leashing that this Trundle would not have a matter of seconds to be able to help that Mordekaiser. Really good insight, really good play, really good tempo. He's now moving towards the bot. He also, you know what's interesting about Lemon's style of play here is knowing where to be at the exact right time with just a small window. That's something that one of these other college players from Harrisburg, Shorter Ace, has an incredible handle on. So I'm excited to see him actually exploit that and exploit the other jungler's confusion, because now you saw the Trundle actually path up towards top, losing a bunch of clearing power and XP in sort of a panic, not nearly as confident as Lemon. So that'll be really fun to watch. I am already kind of suspicious that maybe the jungler on the other side will get a little bit frustrated, but that doesn't mean they don't have a lot of hope. These lanes are winning, Rich. These lanes on the side of IUE, they are winning.
I mean, they're feeling really good right now. And again, there were a couple of pings that you even saw over towards that bot side position with the Drake going to be coming up in not too long, to see if that might be something they'd want to focus on with how forward they're playing. But I mean, honestly, still a little bit of reservation right now. You're going to get this rotation from Lemon back up towards this position of Woes to see if he wants to take another stab at this, but there is still some decent vision up there to prevent it if we do have Lemon commit.
And I know I wanted to say, like, talking about matchups and how they don't necessarily matter quite as much. The Trundle-Taric matchup is devastating in the team fight. It is devastating for the other side. So they're going to have to figure out a way to prioritize taking down this Trundle. But I have a little more confidence because the Trundle doesn't seem as confident as Lemon, so it may not actually be a problem. However, as the game continues and the lane phases start to close up, seeing those team fights, I really want, especially those watching right now, to keep an eye on the Trundle and keep an eye on the Taric and see how that comes out if they understand their roles in these team comps. Because then you will learn what kind of player you're looking at. You'll learn what kind of coaching staff they're working with, just so these players know exactly what champ they're kicking into. Because there's a lot of people who play this video game, they become really attached to just their champ, and they don't necessarily know what the other guy is doing. And that's just a part of learning League of Legends, learning what the other guy is doing. So This will be a lot of fun. I can tell already that these two bot lanes as well very much know what the other one is doing. If you look, there is a 2 creep farm disparity. These two players know exactly the name of the game, and they know exactly what they are going for. UWS takes advantage of that Aphelios power, that early game push, and they take advantage and take that dragon.
Yeah, I mean, two minion differentiation between the two, but honestly, early Drake coming out quickly, again, acknowledging where the positioning was. I think there was even a little bit of intel that was gained by Dewey to know that Lemon was moving up towards that position to drop the ward by the chickens to see if they can get that rotation towards bot. Couldn't look to take that long rotation back, so it left it open for them, especially knowing that they shoved the wave, like you mentioned, to push them back under tower.
Yeah, and you know what? Hopefully that pays off. Hopefully the pathing towards the chickens pays off. He left the chickens up, so he's not looking to get the XP back. He wants the intel. And so I think that Jay-Z? Am I looking at the right name? I don't remember that name. Jay-Z? The Jay-Z?
The literal Jay-Z. Let's get it.
I can't believe he plays League of Legends. But yeah, getting that information ultimately will be the payoff. And hopefully, as Red Herald spawns, you can see it happening right now. Oh dang!
Yep, Dewey's going to take full advantage of that. No mana left here on Nixter, finding themselves overextending, taking a little bit of the damage, but there could be an opportunity here. Lemon's going to look for that resonating strike, doesn't manage to read this correctly, actually looks to fall back with this assistance from the Jhin down below. Actually goes for the flash, goes for the raging kick as well. So they're going to be nice heal. It has to come through to make sure that Lemon survives. I think they would have been okay without the heal, but again, better safe than sorry, especially when you've got Jay-Z looking to potentially with some heavy mobility to go in for maybe good clubbing.
Great rotation coming out of that Taric. Maybe a little too much firepower. I personally don't think Jhin needed to be there or go... I personally don't think Taric needed to be there or go with them, but what else is he going to do by himself and stand in his fuzzy boots in lane? So, you know, not necessarily... they're a package deal, especially this early on in the game. They're very small, they're little twins in utero, and they have to go together, or else they risk getting caught out and throwing the whole game off. So maybe a little too much firepower, but a great kill coming out from their side. They are behind in XP and levels, which is really difficult because you can see them waiting in the bush here, hoping... Oh, they're actually not behind in levels, so the Taric somehow managed to get ahead. Damn!
Threads the death sentence between the minions, gaining wow! I can't even believe that. That's got to be like a pixel's worth of difference while in the top position. Jay-Z now comes in to take advantage of the boulder, bringing him into the death realm, now trying to grasp him back in, seeing if they can just get this quick cleanup. Carfish has to ult over the wall, but there is still an instant flash with a lovely cone to come in to block. Telling you right now, you're not parking here, friend, in a cold winter downtown Chicago when they've already plowed the snow. For all those Midwesterns out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, the snow is so heavy. It is not fun. Wow, that was actually I am still stuck on the death sentence because it gives you that moment of confidence that you are okay because the wave is coming towards you. You think that you are okay. There's no way they could have wasted that much time in the bush. And then it just comes through between 2 minions. That was insane. I don't know if that was on purpose or on accident, but regardless, just an incredible play. We'll have to ask about that if we have an interview later with this team. Even still getting a little bit ahead of myself. Really good stuff coming out from both sides of the team. And I do think Malphite is not down for the count. He is meant to be essentially just be this punching bag in top lane. Not necessarily getting like feeding, but definitely is there to get dove, can sometimes prevent them, and sometimes can take a guy down with him. And that's the most important part of Malphite. Why he has such a big fan club. He's useful, regardless of the matchup.
In the bottom position, 3 versus 3. We've already seen one player go down. You've got Nixter having to come back in as we were looking at the exchange. This is now a 2-1-1 Dewey Syndra. Still continuing to take advantage of it, and honestly, down below, 3 versus 3 engagement is not looking favorable for either, so they are going to look to back off, try to reset, and get themselves a couple more items to feel more confident for future exchanges in this bottom position. And honestly, this engagement up top still continuing to favor that Mordekaiser as we are approaching, well, actually we've already hit it, doubling the CS value against Carfish.
Yeah, and that is where the gold differential is coming from. It's not even these kills, as one would assume, but it's actually from the farm disparity. If you look in mid lane too, there's already a really, really damning disparity between Vex and Syndra. But here is the thing I want folks to continue to look at here. The Aphelios doesn't have any kills, and that's the person who's going to deal all of their damage. Syndra has the potential to sort of carry, but it's mostly in making full plays. It's not necessarily in dealing the damage to the entire team.
Sidesteps that really quickly.
Oh my God,
Next into it. Okay.
Oh, all right.
I think we all just had a little bit of a moment there.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Nixter, your life was in the hands of Lemon at that point. It was no longer Dewey that you had to worry about. It was your ally. But it's okay. Lemon just wanted to put him on edge. Lemon just wanted to put him on edge. You know, it's okay.
No, I think Nixter did a great job of following up, being like, hey, we're gonna play ball. Like, we're gonna play ball with the Syndra with the balls. Like, we're gonna throw around like a volleyball, and you just need to spike it, okay? You have one job, Nixter, just spike the Syndra, and that turned out very well. I like how we both gasped. We were both like, no!
It's like when you really, it's one of those like daunting moments in a TV series show where you kind of knew it was going to happen, but you weren't sure, and then it does, and you're just like, ring! And you hear that sound effect. Yeah, everybody knows.
That was a lot of fun. That was a fun moment from Lemon and Nixter, getting revenge on Dewey, who Nixter really needs a break here. Meanwhile, Jay-Z capitalizing on this heavy pressure they have in the bot lane, going for it. Honestly, this is really concerning. This is one of those symptomatic things, is that if your mid lane doesn't need to be pushed in and you can still get Drake, that is very problematic for the team. The opposing team. It means that they are pretty far behind relatively and have lost control of the map. But that doesn't mean that this team is down and out. They do have the Malphite engage is one of the most powerfully ridiculous things in this game. That's why people, again, love Malphite. He's reliable, and this ult has the chance to change everything. It's just like the Orianna shockwave. It can destroy a team. So I think it's really important that IUE doesn't lose any of their confidence here, because they have a great later comp, except for the Lee Sin that falls off. Not exactly the puzzle piece I would have expected, but limitless ceiling with the potential to make crazy plays and have crazy impact. So it's just hard to say, Rich. It's really hard to say when you haven't ever seen a team play before. It's almost more fun to just watch and figure out what they're all about.
Yep. See if that scale and the ceiling is something that they finally hit, or it is limitless.
Is it limitless?
Is it limitless?
We're seeing a setup here. There's a rotation of the Thresh in the mid lane, and it's actually the whole bot lane. And poor Lemon is like, I thought there was gonna be a Syndra here.
I mean,
kick in the face.
I mean, a little bit of the swap in positioning is going to make it definitely harder for Nixter here. This long-range shot going to be able to take out one of the plays. Now,
Nixter!
Engagement. Nice attempt to go back into this, but there is great recovery here as Nosh able to get just over half the HP and going to leave this top half open for them to get this Rift Arrow.
Yeah, despite highlighting that Nosh doesn't have kills, that's no fault of his own. And I'm actually very impressed by this player right now. The way that they're playing Aphelios is signaling some very serious skill to me. It looks like between both the Lee Sin and the Aphelios, we have two very skilled players who probably dearly love these champs and play them quite a bit. So we're seeing some really good stuff from both sides. Very competitive. Ooh. I do think that Malphite needs to run.
Yeah. Absolutely. You've become a pebble. Just please leave.
Just run, buddy. Like, there's no reason to stay there. You don't need to be a pet rock. You can be free and just take your leave. And, you know, what's happening here on the top lane with the Mordekaiser not being able to get fed is great because that does put a lot of pressure on Nosh. But Nosh is rising to the challenge, so it's kind of difficult to say it's kind of difficult to say that anybody on the side of UWS is actually even failing. You just wish that the Mordekaiser could be a little bit more ahead, but he can't because there's a rock. He's between a rock and a hard place, genuinely, in the top lane there. And that's, again, the application of Malphite is really useful. For essentially, like, you're the top lane, you annul it. It's like Ornn. When you were in the top lane, their top lane doesn't matter. You're just holding them in place in the lane. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how top comes into play in the team fights, because they do need Malphite for the team fights.
I was wondering how long it was going to take for us to get to rock in a hard place, but now as you see it, 15-minute marker is when it's said, and we find a little bit more of a rock and a hard places now. There is a TP coming from top to rotate into the mid, gets the grasp here, able to go into the death realm, trying to compete against this mid laner who is getting overwhelmed. Nixter's going to reach the outskirts of the realm and find 3 others in addition to completely get cleaned up. And now you've got UWS easily taking this bot. Outer turret now going to drop the Herald, and this is just going to snowball for them resource-wise.
That Mordekaiser can literally just die right now. Like I don't know what he's doing with those cruds, but he literally has 1 second. Okay, now he can't dive, but he had Taric. He had Taric on his death counter. Like he could have just dove both of them and got a double kill, but that's okay. This is all about learning. This is all about having an authentic learning experience. And I just don't think Kitsune is ready to embrace his power yet.
I mean,
he realizes how powerful he is.
To be fair, Kitsune has been going against a Malphite who's a boulder.
He's probably
and then
asleep.
had to take the bolt, and then had to take this top camp because they're boulders. Like,
yeah.
he just like
He's
rocks.
mad.
He just like rocks. I mean, come on.
You know what? I approve. And also, it's not like cruds are worth nothing. They're worth quite a bit.
True.
No big deal at all. I would also be mad at Rox if I was like yeah, he just hasn't had his caffeine yet either. Playing against Malphite, it sucks. It's not fun. And I don't know if it's fun to play Malphite either. It's been a long time since I've had to be in that corner, so.
Since you're like PTSD moments of the laugh. I mean,
oh my gosh.
That too.
Yeah, but I never want to be in top lane is my least favorite lane, if only because of Mordekaiser. So there's just so much cheese that can happen in top lane. All I play is Camille, and I don't have a good time. Teemo, like not a good time. Vayne, not a good time. Don't appreciate any of that. So it looks like we're clearing some vision here, getting ready for Dragon. There will be blood here, ladies and gentlemen. There will be blood, and it looks like the blood may actually be IUE's to spill because Syndra is on their way, and Malphite has his teleport up actually. So there's there's actually it's anybody's game here. Who is going to have the better team fight? That's what I want to know from these teams. I want to know who is going to have the better team fight tactics and skills, because that separates the goods from the greats. We aren't having a Malphite teleport come in just yet. It does look like IUE is looking to, yep, they've already done it. So great job on the Malphite for staying in top there, not wasting his teleport, not doing anything crazy. They put a little pressure on there, but I think they should have pushed mid. Instead of flirting with the dragon, I think pushing mid is probably the better option there. And that's just something that comes with time. That macro play, that's something that we saw in the last game. Monkey really had his... He was always in the exact optimal place to be. So, you know, instead of going back and forth on the dragon, he decides, I am not taking dragon. I am going for that mid turret, you know, to at least get something for it. But unfortunately, IUE, I think IUE just needs a little more confidence, a little more decisiveness. Somebody needs to tell them that they can actually fight, sort of.
They flirted with a wave instead of just introducing themselves. And by introducing themselves, that would have been the tower focus.
You get the numbers.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Let's just look at the reality of the world. I love our analogies. I'm going to be honest.
I know, these are funny, actually. I think
we're
doing a really...
I agree. Something special. This is a special moment.
It really is.
As there's a little bit of a special moment with the curtain call, but not going to really get too much value. Body blocked most of it. Again, this is the substitute that's coming in. Porticonu is going to be subbing in, as we mentioned earlier, just really putting on quite a performance with this Thresh. As we've commented earlier, as we're just about to reach that 20-minute marker. That's where we're going to have Baron start opening up, and at this point now, it's really going to be curious to see where the objective focus lies and how soon that upper objective focus is going to start committing.
Yeah, it looks like UWS is probably going to be focusing on those dragons. And, you know, since they have they have the 2 lanes that matter at this exact moment pushed out, I don't necessarily see them losing steam. They are focusing exactly where they should, taking off these 2 quadrants on the map here, and then taking control of the jungle. That's going to make Lemon's job and life a lot harder. If they can continue to push mid and if they can continue to push top. Bot lane already taken care of. Wowee, the Terrible comes out.
Oh no, there was an attempt to jump over the wall from Lemon, but it's fractions too late. And you will now see this engagement as the TP comes in from the top position. Nice. You've got the treacherous follow through, the Obliterate waiting to stack on the multiple members. There is a re-engage by Kickster attempting to get Dewar, but not managed to do so. The stasis comes through, the flash out into the bush. They're still focusing Lemon. The numbers advantage is heavily in favor of UWS, and they will come through swiftly to change the trajectory of this outcome and make Kari run for the hills in those lovely, fluffy boots.
You know who really scared me, though? It was the Syndra with the stopwatch. That timing there to make sure that that Mordekaiser could get, like, I thought it was going to be a triple kill. I thought it was going to be a slaughter, because once Mordekaiser gets that 1 kill, he basically stacks up a portion of the champion who is dead until their death timer is over. So Mordekaiser, if he gets kill on kill on kill, he just starts to go crazy. And as long as the champ that he has last murdered is still dead, he still has a portion of their stats. So that's why Mordekaiser, you know, even if you were behind, if you can continue to invest in your Mordekaiser, it'll get you ahead. But UWS does not need any such advice, because they are now almost 10k over on their, well, they're just under 10k ahead of IUE, which is a pretty dark place considering that IUE doesn't necessarily have a backup plan, and they also have a Tarek versus a Trundle.
Oh no, that's gonna be an unfortunate loss of a flash there. I was hoping for a better outcome and escape, but going to just find themselves back into the
Tarek
spawn.
is actually like an incredible support. He is genuinely so good, but you picked the one champion. Xin Zhao and Trundle are like the 2 champs you just don't want to play Tarek into. And so this has been like kind of a sad state of affairs, because I really wanted to see a Tarek in action, get Fabulous here on the Rift, and it's just been unfortunate because it really feels like a 4v5, doesn't it, Rich?
It absolutely does. I mean, and just take a look at how instantaneous that elimination is. Lemon playing the top portion of it, looking to just try and find a chance to steal it away. But once again, the cone comes out. There is no ability to evade. And now you've got a 12-4 kill ratio here favoring UWS. They are at a almost 12k gold advantage. Baron online, and lanes shoving for days.
Bummertown, USA, population, Indiana University East, League of Legends team. This is not indicative of a team's skill. I do think that this is just an unfortunate round.
Oh, this is where you're gonna make Tarek and, well, Kari's just gonna have AFK. Just be like, alright guys, I'm so tired
right now. Like, my boy Tarek does not deserve this kind of disrespect. I don't even like Trundle for no reason. Like, it's just like a personal problem that I have.
Personal
like,
vendetta.
Yeah,
UWS
absolutely. Just drafted champs I don't like, I guess. I don't know. I probably should be a little nicer. But Lemon, on his way up here, everybody on the team for IUE had a really good plan, and they've been keeping their lanes perfectly fine. But UWS is just... There may be a skill disparity here on individual play, but we'll just have to see.
3v1. Who's going in the realm first? That's the question, friends.
Lemon, you are obligated.
Is literally on the line here. Just basically threading the needle. As in the bottom position, while they're having, you know, a roundabout method with a Mordekaiser, inhibitors down, turret eliminated, mid is being focused with Jay-Z's lightning fast clear of this. This is just falling apart right now. It is such a commanding move here from UWS with the Dragon Soul, the Baron. This is just a matter of time. Yeah,
it's a matter of time, patience, discipline. But they've already paid their dues. Now it's just time to baseball, waffle stomp, if you will.
Nixer in the back actually gets a pickup here. They're still trying to recover. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Finally going back now easily in favor of UWS. They've got so much in their corner right now. You have another pickup. This just long chase down below. Lemon is getting squeezed. And you now have Rogue looking to stealth away, but he has to force the flash. That's going to be one turret about to be eliminated, soon to be the second. And this was quite a performance. Yeah, it really is. I mean, honestly, they're just going to come in clean at the last couple, and that's going to be it. This is such a stellar, coordinated, well thought through comp, and just seriously, it started all from that gank and Tribush at the bottom when you gave a Mordekaiser an elimination and just allowed him to snowball.
I didn't expect Indiana University East. I didn't expect the Mordekaiser to make such interesting and intelligent decisions so early on. I think that 1 kill really just fueled the bloodlust, and from there on just became an unstoppable force. Normally, like I said, Malphite's job is just to keep him up there, keep him entertained, and keep him locked down, but started, you know, with 1 kill down and less resources, couldn't, you know, even leash his own wave so that he could actually get it taken down before the Mordekaiser got to lane. It just started rough. It was just rough. Yeah. Like, he couldn't pull his own first lane. So I just...
Throwing the arms out saying, are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Let's be real. Russell Crowe for life.
Yeah,
Russell
for
Crowe
real
life.
though, like that Mordekaiser as played by Russell Crowe, like I'm there. I'm on the train for that one, because what a terrifying display of power from that player. Even though I was like jokingly almost flaming them about not like turret diving, but who cares? Because not only did that player like keep it locked down, but they were always there where they needed to be. They never panicked and pathed where they shouldn't be. There was just some very good optimization on the side of Indiana. So I'm really excited. Or sorry, yeah, on the side of UW Stout. I'm really excited to see what the next game looks like, because once again, best of ones, they aren't indicative of anything at all. Oftentimes it comes down to that draft, and like that Tarek into that Trundle, it becomes a 4v5, and that was pretty tragic. And I really think that support has something more to show us.
Absolutely, and only time will tell. We've seen a very dominant overtaking in this first round of Summoner's Rifts, but we will have another here in just a moment. We'll be heading to a short break, so go grab some food, some snacks, and some drinks, because I know I'm going to, as we'll be back in just a moment on the other side of this break. We return, friends, as we are here for some more shenanigans and amazing League of Legends. We have seen a convincing game that already just transpired as we are entering into our second best of 3. Honestly, really quite impressed at how well and just overall exciting this was with UW Stout and what they've really been able to do.
Oh gosh, you guys, it's hard to explain the top matchup because Mundo is really good at faking out a dive, and I think that we should keep an eye out for that, because Gangplank is also really great aid to dives because of the barrels, but I don't think Mundo is diveable, because what happens is that he lets the wave push out to him, he fakes out a dive by thinning the wave, and then he closes his W, which is like it lets out an electric shock, and it also gives him a shield. He's nigh undiveable as long as the wave is thinned before they get dived. So keep an eye on the top lane and watch Mundo. Watch if he lets the wave crash into his turret, he thins it out, and they try and dive him, he will survive those. And that's really great because Xin Zhao loves to do those top lane dives, and that's really great for UW Stout. This draft actually is incredibly insightful and very well done, but the Gangplank, if he does get ahead enough, he can actually take down the Mundo at later levels, but an early lane top dive is going to look real ugly. Meanwhile, Caitlyn actually has an incredible individual lane performance, which allows this Lux to potentially rotate, which means that their top side is actually incredibly strong. Veigar, I don't know what to say about Veigar. We saw him on Monkey and he was incredible, but Veigar's potential is very much dependent on self-control in the early game, which is hard to have with Vex because Vex is so freaking pushy. She's such a pushy champ. She like requires that you engage with her. So I think that Veigar will actually be quite good into her just because he has the cage, but it depends on if this person is not patient and they don't stay safe, that the Vex matchup is not going to go well. So just don't be hot-headed. That's all. Patience, discipline.
No, don't be overzealous. Absolutely not. I guarantee I'm going to see it. But and the other thing too is you also, this is just a side conversation about the Mundo, just because I guarantee you mentioned a couple of times when it came to like the suit, the prim, the proper, the meta play. If I don't see a Mundo skin with a briefcase and a cell phone up in here, I'm going to be really upset.
Seriously, like what is the point in being alive if you don't pick business Mundo? You know what I mean? Like I just don't see the point of even playing the champ. It's like if you don't play Maokai when you're playing Maokai, what's the point? What is the point?
Star Wars fans, play Mundo because it's a trap. I'm going to do these all night. I'm going to do these all day. I'm literally like that cheesy, like rad dad people say, like in my community, they're just like, oh, you're such a dad. I was like, whatever. Dad. I just, okay, whatever. It's because I have a fur child and it's a cat and we don't know where she is, but whatever. We've already had a cat featured that looks like Vex on your screen as well.
That's
so
true.
Yeah, she had a shadow. Some cat action, right? Just being just like, hi, mom.
Hi, friend. I'm a shadow. I have 3 cats actually, but that's another story for another day. I'm a crazy cat lady, forever alone, which is fine. I like it this way. Sort of so lonely.
What are you talking about? Cats will give you unconditional love and also kind of give you some glares every now and again. But talking about glares, speaking of cats and glares and all the above, everything exciting that is League of Legends, we are here on this second attempt here for maybe an easy closeout 2-0, but we can't count out this Indiana University East side, as they are going to be on the top half, attempting to see if they can equalize it for a 1-1 score to bring it into a game 3.
The last game, or the last series, the last set of games that we saw, it was relatively one-sided, but not in the way that we had understood it would be. We knew that one had an established program and one was just a club. These are both established esports programs, and we had really no idea. I mean, we could look at OPGGs, you can sort of get a feel for it, but at the end of the day, how two teams play into each other in collegiate is very much dependent on individual play, communication, and respect and trust between the players. Not that I'm here to dispense advice to esports programs in collegiate, but since it's an emerging industry, I do want to say that if your players do not get along, it doesn't matter how high their MMR is, they will not be successful as a team. You should do activities to bond and everything like that. And that's the whole point of college League of Legends, is learning to work with other people, learn to lead them, have good communication. It's a really great skill to have. I'm so glad that we're starting to see more esports programs incorporating this game in particular. But I do think that both of these teams actually quite like each other.
Oh, the lockdown, the damage.
Goodbye.
There's an easy first blood, overextending solo without the Lucian there to apply any assisted pressure. It's going to be an easy early advantage, and it went into the pocket of the support. Could have been a little better going into the Caitlyn, but regardless, you're happy with that outcome nonetheless.
Extremely happy, and now they're zoning this Lucian from getting XP. This is a very essential part of the game that a lot of people don't necessarily pay a lot of attention to. The way that your XP goes, the way that you are surfacing levels, you can get kills just based on level spikes alone in the early game. So zoning that Lucian away from his own wave, taking care of that Nami, it's a punishment that I would not wish on my worst enemy. It's extremely hard to come back from, and they're doing it right now. They have zoned not only Lucian but Nami from her own wave. They're both still level 1. Listen, if they even step out for the next little bit, they're gonna hit level 2, level 3, level 4. They're all ready. This is impressive as hell. This is so disgusting. They've used a heal. He's taken one of his pots as well in the Lucian, and this is a struggle bus. Look at that, the Lucian singularity. It's so oppressive with the traps. Lux is a lot of fun right now, specifically with Caitlyn because she's back in the meta, and I think it's ironic that a bunch of the arcane characters are back in the meta, which means, in my opinion, anybody can be played at anything, but you know.
Truth.
This
Truth. I mean, and again, just that positioning with the 2 traps below, there was no way that the Lucian position could escape. But now that over-aggressive play is being punished.
No.
Carpfish playing forward, looking to see if they can get that Nosh.
Oh!
The flash outside of the bubble, so
bubble
only gets a
flash.
stun onto the minions. Nice lockdown for now with a follow-up underneath as the flash comes over. JZ looking to collapse onto Kari. Gets it. Now goes in for the counter jungle. The fear comes through. Carpfish manages to get overwhelmed. They want the execution. There's the double. Are you going to go for the triple underneath it? And bails out of it before getting hit with that final turret. But what a great rotation by Jay-Z and awareness to help this bot lane.
The King of New York, here himself, Jay-Z, on Warwick, just absolutely doing it, using that Blood Rage to go ahead and just get to the mid lane.
What?
Gets taken out by Veigar. That feels like a BM or some sort of trolley move there. I think that they were expecting Veigar to use the cage to stun that Vex, but unfortunately that is not what happens. Vex gets a double kill, so...
Wow. I mean, again, it's a trade, at least in the mid lane part of it. But yeah, I honestly thought that it was more so because Jay-Z anticipated that there was going to be a little bit more tossed out from Dewey. But unfortunately, Dewey was such at a low mana level that it really couldn't get the follow through. So at that point, I think it was just them trying to work with what they could and felt a little bit overzealous as at the top position, Lemon is able to get this pickup. Again, rotating from what we've seen them before. They have changed roles in this from what we saw earlier, which was playing the jungle. So I'm curious to see how this is going to adjust as well in their reflection versus having Carfish now in the jungle position.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I think that there are a lot of people that are Gangplank one-tricks, and Lemon obviously showed a lot of versatility in the jungle, but I do think that Lemon is probably going to dominate here. The person playing, Kitsune playing the Mundo, already kind of pushed in a little too hard, kind of tried to go head-to-head with the Gangplank, and that's not Mundo's utility. There's no world in which Mundo can go head-to-head against Gangplank. He is supposed to be bait for turret dives, and that is pretty much his only utility. It's a great way to farm Xin Zhao, essentially, and maybe even Gangplank if he steps up, which he won't. But interesting way to play. Kitsune has a unique opportunity to freeze his wave right now, so I hope he does that. And meanwhile, we're in the bot lane where everything is this Caitlyn. Like, aren't you sad just watching this? Like, isn't this like frustrating?
There was a hope and a prayer to get the support play, but honestly, the fear comes through, discombobulated, and not knowing what to do. And that's going to be another pickup here. 5-3 in the score, and already 2K up an advantage at the 5:45-minute marker.
That's so wild to me. I also find it really interesting that they didn't decide to go for Dragon on the bot lane on the blue side. UWS making a very informed and intelligent decision. Not sure if they saw the Xin Zhao pathing or Carpfish, but they could have wiped them there, and they chose not to go for it. So really great skills of observation coming out of UWS. They very much know when they are supposed to be doing something and what they're supposed to be doing. And without that mid pushed out, didn't go for the bait. So pretty, I'm actually, Rich, I'm quite impressed with UWS. I'm quite impressed with their skills here.
I mean, they've just been playing so strategically, really coordinated. Granted, again, we mentioned they had a little bit of, you know, flashy aggression when it came with the Warwick into the mid lane. That could have been a little bit more reserved, but outside of that, you know, a little bit of a mishap or overzealous play. It has been very, very respectable, and I think honestly, it's just they're motivated. They came in from that previous game so dominantly. At this point, they're just trying to ride the title wave.
Yes, absolutely, and they have such a good. They have a, you know, I think that they are fairly well evolved. They have a really good idea of how their matchups work. They have a really good idea of, like, I don't know, the weak side on the top is actually doing quite a bit of work as well, because it's allowing for the bot lane to just kind of like get absolutely crushed. And they kind of did the same, we saw the same thing too with like the enchanters. There's just a certain type of matchup where it's like too much for the other team to resist, and they end up focusing on the wrong portion of the map.
Oh, the aggressive blast comes in under turret. Manages to get it. Dewey goes down in conjunction. That is an even trade under turret. And honestly, Jay-Z was like, I just wanted a little piece of the action.
Yeah,
friends.
I just wanted an assist, bro. You didn't have to go so hard. And then they go for this dragon here now that they have pushed out the mid lane and they pushed out bot lane. But we do see Carpfish, we haven't seen in the jungle quite yet, heading down on the Xin Zhao. Absolutely can punish this Warwick if given a little bit of time. But the bot lane's pushed out, they are zoned, there's no way in hell the Carpfish can call for aid. Gondor calls for aid and nobody's answering.
Gondor calls for aid! You shall not pass. Oh, we are best friends, my friend.
You are zoned.
We are just so the best.
Good. I really think
each other.
Yeah, we got a very special, like, you always pick up what I put down combination here. We're just like a pop culture duo here.
It's pretty legit. We're gonna have, you know, conversations about Disney and all this.
Oh my
gosh. You know, let's not do that. We'll have our moments.
No, but it's such a good time though. What do you think about the Book of Boba Fett? Have you seen it yet?
Oh no, I haven't. I need to. It's on my to-do list. There's so many shows that I gotta watch. I'm so behind.
It's got a lot of criticism, but we'll just have to talk about it when you watch it, you know?
Oh, absolutely. No, you can definitely give me all the intel and what your feelings are afterwards. But I mean, in regards to the feelings now, we've talked about it and highlighted it already.
In the video game.
In the video game in which that we are working. That you do have this consistent aggression into the mid lane and quite evenly, you know, paced back and forth. The biggest thing is that Dewey is expending a lot into this and always finding themselves a little bit short-handed as Jay-Z's now going to come in from that side position to try and get the engagement in their favor. But once again, this sphere has to be long enough. There's the ulti that comes through. Dewey finally gets the better end of this, pulls ahead now, and at least has 3-2-0 and one less death with the even score of the CS. So
yeah, I think letting Warwick through it all is an egregious error just because he's so point and click, so trolly point and click. You know, when you're learning jungle, Warwick is one of the best possible options that you can have just because he's relatively easy to play skill-wise, and you can focus on your farming, you can focus on your kiting, you can focus on your map management. And at this level of play in Collegiate, where everybody's, you know, quite a bit above average, but not quite pro, Warwick's still incredibly oppressive unless you are fully seriously countering him. So, big bummer for Carpfish, but hey, look at how top lane is going. The Mundo is getting farmed to an extent that is concerning. That means that these critical barrels for Lemon may actually do some work, some very serious work. Dewey is just...
Dewey going in for more. Jay-Z coming in for some assistance. I was going to say, that's a little overzealous, as we saw earlier from Jay-Z, as Dewey's going to probably express a little bit of their own. And, I mean, just needs to be super careful. If there is the slightest advantage of a crowd control or a fair dive from one or the other, it's just going to be tick, tick, boom, goodbye for the opposing mid laner.
Absolutely. This is it's a little bit chaotic too because the matchups are going in like such wildly different ways. But Jay-Z really has this shit on lock, to be completely honest with you. Like, if you have a successful jungler, it feels so impactful. And when you don't have a jungler, it's almost not a big deal if your lanes are independent. But Jay-Z is really just putting in the work here to make sure that they have, nearly every objective at this moment. They have the first tower, they have the first dragon, they have the Rift Herald as well, which will allow them to create even more. Oh, sorry, they don't have the first tower. I thought the mid had gone down, but it did not. Oh, sorry, they're gonna have it. So
I mean, they're gonna get this bot one, yeah. They're gonna.
In bot lane, all they need to do to, kind of like cinch the win on the game is to push this bot lane out. If you see the first tower go down and they push it all the way to the next tower, that is a deeply concerning indication that the game is now out of the control of the other team. So they are preventing them from pushing this all the way to the tower because they know the implications of how difficult it is to get your ADC back up and up if they can push it all the way to the tower, forcing them to recall. And that is a great play on the side of IUE. That's something that a lot of teams macro-wise don't necessarily understand. I know.
They're going to do it again. They're going to think that they're going to try and get it. Here's this. You've got help for a moment and then are absolutely vaporized in a blink of an eye.
I can't believe that. I didn't think it was possible. I just, for some reason, thought it would happen, but it just did.
Nice attempt to try and evade the incoming charge. Chomp indeed, as well. Nah, it's gonna be able to.
Vander, I mean Warwick.
Come on, there's the return. There you go. You got lucky charms, but no, the return's gonna be in the middle position. Has to try and drop the cage, can't manage to move fast enough outside of it, and you still have this actually going in favor of topside. IUE able to gain something in these exchanges. If that would have been a loss, that would have been horribly gone wrong and continued to snowball in a negative direction.
In a negative way, but IUE is not down for the count. They are actually making some very, very intelligent macro decisions, and not only that, but Lemon is just shit stomping on Kitsune, and no bait has been taken. Carpfish has absolutely no interest in pathing top. It has been mostly camping mid with a little bit of poking in and out there on the bot lane just to see if there are any opportunities, but UWS's bot lane, Noshkrin, and Kotakuno are an absolute force of a duo. I'm actually very, very impressed with their ability to manage their lanes, manage their recalls, doing such an incredible job with how they handle it. They're always away when Carpfish is on the other side of the map, so.
I mean, at this point, though, they have to have topside at least have some kind of advantage because everywhere else is being eliminated.
Everywhere.
There is a stack. Double chain comes through, able to lock them in place and just instantly pop their health values. This, again, is just so absolutely stellar at how UWS is playing.
Yeah, the bot lane is looking pretty nasty too. Lemon has followed Kitsune into that lane just to try to keep that very small lead ahead. Gangplank does have an incredible ability to impact. Oh no, Carpfish.
Yeah, that was an easy 1, 2, 3. I can definitely say, literally, you've got more than enough lucky charms to consume for this whole mid lane at this point. I want cereal.
I know, me too.
Dewey. Thanks, Dewey.
Feeling that. One thing is that Lemon does know that he is the win condition right now. And needs to continue to, stop damage where he can, but also focus on farming and continue to farm up because those barrels can take down an entire team if given the chance. And so he's got to stay away from useless skirmishes. You saw that he pathed down there to sort of like poke his head into the mid lane to follow Mundo. Not necessarily the best idea. You should just keep your head down, keep farming, unless you can guarantee that where you're pathing is going to end with some sort of benefit. So Lemon, keep your head down, keep farming, do the best that you can, keep farming that Mundo if at all possible. Not a great, you wish you had somebody a little bit squishier like Camille to farm down there, but Mundo's fine. Caitlyn is back on track now too. Noshkren is really, really impressive, but the Caitlyn Lux lane is so impressive. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, they've found themselves in such a dominant position. Now, as I say that, there is a heavy aggression. Nice. This is a happy feet moment, but it's soon going to fall short as the aggression comes out. There is a huge shutdown advantage going towards this middle position. Dewey, what are you doing? You're going to go super aggressive with the blast cone over the wall. Has to pop the cage on top of it. There is a massive amount of damage coming from the support player. I mean, Kodakuno has stacked. You thinking, oh no, it's a support Lux. That's not going to hurt. No, it sure as hell does. As Lemon now is being hacked to pieces with a cleaver up towards the cage. You've got the ultimate as well. Picking him up again. 15 and 7. Rogue escaping again. But this is just miraculously done all around, through and through. Even with these really uncomfortable engagements like Dewey coming over the wall, they're still able to come back on top. Are you gonna get this too? You're gonna get it with the comments! Oh my!
Oh my, I'm like speechless right now. I love to see support shine too. See Kodakuno actually like pursuing that as well, even with a couple other people on the map. That was really fun. I love a support Lux that actually like isn't just out of control, just absolutely unhinged.
That Mundo moment there on the tower is how they're playing the game right now.
Oh yeah, where he grabs
their face so hard right now. That was the most truest and purest form of what is occurring at this moment. But I mean, and also as a support player, you would know this probably just as much. When you get that Comet kill, it feels so damn good.
I literally cannot even, the Comet kill, especially when you walk away, like, you're in a Michael Bay film, like walking away from the explosion, and you get the kill, you're like, yeah, that's right. That's who I am.
I walk away from Comet throws and have a grin on my face.
We're focusing on the the bot side quadrant of the map to try to protect Carpfish in the way that he is farming. So you can see his teammates hovering around him, making sure that he is able to actually farm his own jungle. You also see Lemon there protecting the jungle as well. So they're doing what they can to try to annul the pain. You actually don't see this kind of cooperation even in LCS teams. So, great job. That's the benefit of this kind of coordination. Great communication on the side of IUE. They're really doing what they can to try to recover.
Oh no, but look at this collapse from all angles. You've got the cage surrounding Carpfish, unable to escape. Now they're going to chase down Lemon, who got the early pickup. Uplatch comes through, able to evade. The keg is there, but it's not going to matter. There's even a cheat. They're going to... Really?
They're just gonna let him.
They're just gonna let him roam free into the turret. Still gonna get the takedown. There is no way they were out of that combat long enough to not get that over to Kitsune.
Yeah, that's true.
Now the focus onto the Rift Herald just before the Baron. The only thing that's being obtained right now is bot side turret from Rogue, hoping to gain some kind of gold in the pocket.
Hey, you know what? The least you can do is try and split push here. I do want to say that a team's worth and skill can often be seen in the way they try to recover from a losing game. Really important because you don't always get in this game state in a way to be able to practice. So this is a great on-stage opportunity. I know the joke is loses improve, but the reality here is that IUE just displayed some very, very slick ideas of how to work together to be able to try to recover. And I think that alone is worth praising because there's not a lot else to say. On the side of UWS and our third Drake, here we go, Cloud Drake for just to prolong IUE's suffering, I think is probably why it's Cloud Drake.
And now they're going to try and move up towards this bottom position. Here's the Predators. He's got a lucky charm for you, friends. Going in for it, doesn't get out of the dash, into the beam. Boom! Comes the dynamite. Oh my goodness.
Dynamite. Oh, so disgusting. That was... I'm sorry, Kodakuno just deserves so much praise for the way that they have played. Like, I am just like I don't know, I'm such a huge fan of supports that are aggressive, that are, you know, able to match the style of their ADC, but Noshkren and Kodakuno are a pair that, like, I would like to see in semi-pro play. I know I keep saying that, but college is great. It's for the experience, it's for the skills that you get from it. But guys, maybe just, I don't know, make an amateur team. There's plenty of people here to make one.
Do it. Hashtag 2022 successes.
Hashtag 2022 proving grounds.
Let's go. Because now we're going to look to continue seeing some attention into this middle position, just continuing to clean up. I mean, at this point, you've lost your outer turrets, secondary being contested. They don't really have too much forward presence of warding and visibility. I mean, there's the couple that reach out towards at least the region of Baron, but I mean, any side of this bot position to potentially look for and is not going to be a focus due to Dragon not being up in 330. So I mean, at this point, they're just trying to gain every ounce of advantage from the CS that they can grasp without being out of position and the jungle that remains.
There was some hope there for IUE, just because they did display the knowledge to be able to protect their jungler in, like, recovery, but unfortunately, there's just too much of a gap in terms of item strikes, Lux gap. headshot.
Oh my, I mean, we're talking just 3/4 health chunks.
Yeah.
Just constantly. And at this point, Jay-Z is literally just turning on the rocket boosters and just
Literally
like, I'm
just
just gonna
running
chase
around.
you to literally make you feel absolutely uncomfortable in any positioning that you see. Oh no, you're not gonna.
That bloodlust passive is so disgusting because you can literally just run around the paths and just walk around like a little wolf.
Walk? I mean, that's.
Yeah, I was gonna say skitter even.
Yeah, skitter, scamper, anything of the sort. But now you're gonna see nobody scampering out of this one as you do have the cage coming through, though there is a return. Trying to see if they can get doing low to maybe get a harassment onto it as Cartfish potentially goes into the back dive. Unfortunately, you're gonna have that front line being beefy as all heck, continuing to push in. Now trying to get that top position. Lemon's gonna get low. There's the smite coming out, aggressively still surviving. Hits the blast cone, gets the takedown, but it's not going to be enough. There still is some great plays coming out by IUE, but in the long run, you still have a cleanup here. UWS, with such a massive lead, continue to exploit and shove against IUE.
Jay-Z is just so oppressive that it really makes it hard for Cartfish to walk up. Wasn't even able to pull off any of those fancy Xin Zhao dives, has literally just been suffering. I feel especially bad for Lemon, who seems to have a really good handle on macro, has a really good handle on the other kits, and is playing quite well, but unfortunately just doesn't have the team to back him up. You can only do so much on your end. And, you know, his team isn't doing, you know, particularly the wrong thing. It's just all of these elements leading up. The Lucian and the Nami getting oppressed. Nixter trying to be fancy. Lemon getting taken out by... Everybody's just getting 1D'd by Kodakuno. Like, Kodakuno's just going out there and just booping everybody. It's wild.
Can I just say this? When we're talking about booping, we're talking 6, 1, and 12 kind of
insane.
booping.
That's
like,
insane.
That is not booping.
That's not a boop.
That is a full punch to the kidney kind of interaction. I mean, for realsies. Like no take backsies or nothing. No.
Wow. It's hard. Okay, so here's the reality. Let's talk about commentary for a minute here, you know, because the game is going how it's going. As a color commentator, I'm supposed to talk about paths to recovery, how we're going to win this game. You already know they have Baron, they're pushing in, and now it's just kind of choking them to death. The only path to recovery is if UWS just suddenly starts fracturing, and IUE can get very serious picks. They do have these bounties. And they also have objective bounties, so I mean the possibilities are a lot larger than they used to be. But at this moment, I'm not gonna lie to you, everybody watching this probably plays League of Legends or knows somebody or loves somebody who plays League of Legends. This game it's over, unless something wild and crazy happens. So we're watching the end of the game here. Still, IUE has shown they didn't give up for a really long time. They really showed some good recovery, and this is a great VOD review for them.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle, and again, you highlight it. The fact that you're going to take stock of what had happened in this game to elaborate further. I would definitely say that their first game was much more convincing. Again,
Definitely.
1, 2, 3, center of the cage. You've got now this Dragon Soul going to be picked up. Wouldn't be surprised here if they want to try and just shove now that they've got it active to end it. Again, it is a moment for you to reflect, and one way or another, somebody was going to have to lose the second week, and it just looks like IUE is going to be the one taking the L, as despite they want to take their attempts, Kate comes out, gets another, stacking up and getting the pick. They do at least take down, you know, the Mundo play. The front line is partially gone, but this is still just no easy way to work around it.
No, it's heartbreaking too, because their draft really just does not allow for even stopping a siege either. Like the range of the Caitlyn, of the Lux, they can't even walk up, and that's one thing that I think a lot of teams should consider when you're considering your draft. Don't think about meta, think about zoning, think about what you can do in certain situations with the range that you have. It's not all about you know, tanks or your ability to dive or get dove. A lot of it sometimes just comes down to range. Oh guys, don't BM. Come on, hit the Nexus. Oh, come
Auto
on.
int for days. It's okay.
Yeah.
Super minions are here to save the day. As that's going to be the second point here going in favor of University of Wisconsin Stout. They have played quite stellar. And honestly, again, it was Indiana University last week. I was able to look at some of their VOD history and able to see that that was quite a close, intense game. Now that they're going into, Wisconsin, finding themselves quite a adversary to go against, really, really huge learning opportunity for them moving forward. Indiana can now take stock of this type. And again, their first game was, personally, I feel a little bit more convincing. They still found themselves at quite a deficit, but in that first game, they played to their strengths. They adjusted. Maybe it was, one of those things where I know they wanted to use the Gangplank top by swapping that role between Lemon and Carp, but it might have been something where it would have been more optimal for them to have kept that original roles. All those different types of questions and ideas just come to top of mind when you start really evaluating the brass tacks of what these types of strategies are being brought to these matches.
Incredible points brought up. I think that those are all completely relevant, and those are things that you should ask yourself in a VOD review. I think that these are all completely relevant. And not only that, but IUE has some very good bones. What they have and what they are working with, specifically Lemon, was a really, really interesting player who has a really good sense of what's going on. Shot calling probably should fall to Lemon. They should probably follow those strats if they don't have a coach drafting for them. So lots of strong play. The recovery plays are really good. They have really good cooperation. I would like to think that IUE has a really, really good base to work with here. It seems like all those players do actually listen to each other. It was just a matter of understanding the draft and also the win cons on the other side of the team. So
absolutely. And we will be able to have an opportunity to speak with one of the players as well to get some insight and see how they're feeling. As we actually do have confirmation, it's going to be Dewey that we're going to be able to talk with. So really excited to have that opportunity to speak with them, especially because, as we mentioned towards, the top of this segment of the broadcast, is that they're going to be stepping up into that coaching role. So really, really looking forward to seeing how their, thought process of this is looking to build out, but really, really overall done a fantastic job, and I believe we're just getting them into our opportunity to interview in just a moment. But again, still overall really, really well-rounded play coming out from Wisconsin, and I'm extremely excited to see how they move through this, because you really, really highlighted as well how successful that bot lane was, and it was absolutely just crushing.
Yeah, and you know what? I think IUE has, like I said, good bones, and they just needed a different draft. That's all.
Indeed. Now it looks like we actually do have Dewey coming in here, so we can actually have a conversation with him. Dewey, how are you doing, my friend?
Good. It was a good series.
That's fantastic. Yes, indeed. You cleaned house and did a stellar job. I mean, honestly, we had a chance to talk to Spades before going into this, and, talking highly about you and, the role that you're about to take in the near future, being a player and then transitioning into this role and the performance that you've put on here. How is it that you kind of take methodically these strategies and just what you play? Like, what is it the process that you go through to be not only this quality player, but also taking that knowledge and transitioning into a leadership role?
Well, it all starts, been playing for a while, and, I put a lot of games in, and I play as many champions as I can. I work on all the small things. All the small things matter, and I've made sure to get those things not perfect, but as close as I can to perfect. And as a player, that's one of the most important things you can do. And then going into a coaching role, I can use that information to help all the players. So yeah.
They call him College Bjergsen. His name is Dewey. I was just really, I need to know, what is the team dynamic like? Are you guys relatively serious? Do you have a good time? Are you friends? And who is doing the shot calling as well?
It's a mix of both of those. We have our moments of,
everybody does,
having some fun, but other than that, it's. I mean, we try to keep it competitive, as keep it serious in game. But there's those moments where we have some fun. But
good.
Yeah, and we all have our mix and match of callouts.
Is there anybody in particular you'd single out as the leader of the team? Is there anybody any players like that?
I'd say I have more of a leadership role. Yeah, I think so. I think I have the most experience, and I use that to just guide the team forward. But I'm not the only one making these calls. There's things that I don't see that my teammates see, and they call it out. So
the level of humility coming out of you is very good. That's such a great skill to have in a leader, is to know when you were right and when you were wrong. That's great. You have a bright future.
Thank you.
Well, and one thing I want to touch on too is I know, like I said, we talked to Spades and he had mentioned that, you know, both you and Kitsune are more newer to the roster entering into, you know, this year. So they had said that you were, you know, really, really performing at a high level, like being able to acclimate really well. Now let's take a swap and ask you, how is your experience fitting into this roster, taking on, you know, this responsibility and being able to work as a unit? Like, has it been something that's really rewarding? Like, what's been challenging? How does that look for you?
It's pretty fine. I mean, our last mid laner had some problems, and you know, me stepping in gave us that option to fix some of those and make it more consistent in the mid lane. And you know, I think that's what the team needed. I know there's, from what I know, some troubles with last roster and how that worked out, but overall it's been much better for the team as a whole. And yeah.
Fantastic.
Do you guys have any like rivalries? Is there like any particular school that you're looking forward to competing against, or are you still too green to have one of those?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, no. I think at some point we'll have a team that.
Yeah, you know. There's always a great white buffalo. Like, you will find yours. I was just curious if it had stood out quite yet, so we could keep an eye on it.
Unfortunately, but
I'll keep an eye out for it.
It's okay. You'll just have to announce it on Twitter the moment that you know it. Whenever somebody gets an outplay on you, and you'll be just like right there, absolutely.
I'm gonna be like, Dewey's gonna beat the shit out of Harrisburg. Like, he's gonna just
only Twitter.
It's only Twitter. It's the only way to go. It's the only way to get anything out.
Definitely real life.
Twitter war is the only way, I think.
Yep. The rage continues. But we do really want to say that we appreciate your time. It's been awesome to be able to watch you and all of your teammates play and do so well. And, you know, the worthwhile fight that your opponent had brought to you guys. But again, you played so stellar, and we cannot wait to see how you continue on through the rest of these weeks. Again, you can feel with your head held high. You have 2 weeks now, back-to-back wins, the W, the 2-0 score. So feeling confident. And let's now look to see you prep for next week to make it a 3-0, Fran. That's what we want to see.
It'll be fun.
Yep, we definitely are Dewey fans now here on the desk, so
thanks.
Keep it up.
We'll do like a Dewey call. Be just like, Dewey! It's just coming out chanting in the back. That's what'll happen. Next, you got to make a chant, a cheer, and everything else with signs and everything. That'll be great.
I'm excited.
Thanks.
But take care. We wish you a wonderful rest of your evening. Great celebration for you and your teammates, and looking forward to hopefully getting to see you again here on broadcast, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. And again, for all of you that have tuned in, that have been a part of this, I mean, I got to be honest, Space Ghost, I've had a blast today getting back into this. You know, starting the new year, NACE Starleague, League of Legends has been amazing. Granted, we didn't get a first week broadcast, but to be a part of the first one and going into this year so far has been stellar.